Third and 10 from the 11. Travis under pressure, trying to escape, able to escape. Turns the corner, stays in back. Gets to the edge, Johnny Michelle will send the Dogs home. To the 30, 35. No! Is another first down.
Not dealing with much pressure at all when he does drop back to throw.
The play action, Bennett looks down the middle, McConkey's wide open, touchdown Dogs.
Woo.
Still goosebumps. And with that, we welcome you to another episode of the Knowles and Dogs podcast. I am your co-host Hunter, and that is
Dylan.
There we go.
Woo. Yeah,
Arnold Palmer here. Get us
Oh,
rolling.
nice. Oh, nice.
We got the Natty shirt on today. I can never get this camera angle right. There it is. That's fine. There we go. Hope everyone's doing good. If you're watching us on YouTube, awesome. Guys, I've seen awesome uptick in views, subscriptions, likes. It's been awesome. Keep it rolling, guys. Really do appreciate it. We set a record high on views for our last episode, so that was awesome to see.
We love to see that.
Glad to see that you guys are enjoying what we're putting out. And we are 3 subscribers away from 50, guys. We got this.
That's
we
the
can get
game
3
changer.
more. 3
That's
more.
the game changer right there. That's what we're looking for.
Yes. If we can get to the big 5-0, big things are coming. Hope everyone enjoyed their week up to this we're almost to the weekend again.
Yeah.
Call it Super Regionals starting up.
You gotta love it.
Watched a bunch of regionals this past weekend. I don't know with Dylan.
I tried to watch as much as I can, but with work it's always hard. But there were some good games. There were some games.
A lot of upsets. There was quite a few upsets. And we have 2 4 seeds, I think. Yeah.
I believe you're right. Yes.
1 4 seed is in.
1 4 seed and then
is in Super Regionals. We have a couple 2s and 3s, I think. But not as many hosts made it out of regionals as we thought, and a lot of people thought. So, but that's why the tournaments, any sport tournaments, are awesome to watch playoff baseball because you never know what'll happen.
Yep.
So rundown for the day, guys, was going to be pretty self-explanatory. We're going to do a little NCAA. We're going to do a little regional recap from this past weekend's action. We'll look ahead to Super Regionals and the predictions there. And then we'll switch on over back to football. We'll talk about conference championship, who we think is going to win, who we think will win their respective conferences, Power 5 only, and then who will be running the runners up. And a little college football news regarding NCAA 24, the game. Another small speed bump on the road to hopefully obtaining the game, and we will finish it off with 3 questions as we always do. So without further ado, guys, make sure you're hitting the subscription or that subscribe button if you haven't already. And if you know people that like college sports, any sport in general, tell them to hit that subscribe button because we are the people you should be watching.
Yeah,
man, that felt good.
We really do. We appreciate any kind of shout out, get the name out. We just want people to hear us. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Let us know what they think.
We're preachers pretty much at this craft stuff. I'm just kidding.
That's strong.
We're just preaching all the good word of all good sports. So before we get too off topic, let's get started, guys, with some NCAA baseball regional recap. A lot of games, of course. 64 teams started this weekend. We are down to, what are we at? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7,
16?
8.
Oh, only 8, yeah. Dang.
8 supers, so yeah. God, you're going to get me. Yes, 16. We had to clarify that.
I thought it was 16. I was like, whoa.
If you guys are watching on YouTube, I have the bracket listed here, so I was counting that.
Yeah.
So don't quote me on that stuff, but.
Oh, yeah. Now I have my bracket up here on my screen, and I'm like, am I missing something? Hold on.
Right? So some notable, if I want to flip back here because I wrote down. So some notable upsets from this past weekend. Host Hosting teams, Miami, Auburn, Oklahoma State, Vanderbilt. Who else? Arkansas.
Yep.
All eliminated this past weekend. Auburn and Oklahoma State went 0-2, so so not the best look if you're the host team going 1 and done. Oh, yeah, I already said Miami. I was pretty good on my predictions, I think. There were a couple. My 5 best picks to win the College World Series. Only one of the teams now left standing. Forgot Clemson also out.
That's I on my little rundown. I gave Clemson its own little bullet point for the collapse because, man, that's a tough one.
So if you didn't watch the game, mainly, so Clemson up 4-2.
Yep.
This is Tennessee. They played Saturday night or Saturday. It was 6 o'clock, but it didn't end until like close to 10:30 because 10:30, 11. Clemson's up 4-2 on Tennessee, top of the 9th, and their pitcher who had started the entire game has 2 outs. 2 outs in the inning, just needs 1 more out. Gives up back-to-back base hits, both with 2 strikes, I think. Well, no, one of them was 2 strikes. They
one
pull
of them was
him,
2 strikes, and
they
then
pull him, send him to first. Next guy comes in. I think no, he didn't. So he comes in, and Tennessee hitter, 1-2 count, I believe is what it was, just grooves a fastball right down the middle, and that ball was still flying into the left field sky. Tennessee took the lead briefly. Clemson responded, tied it, and then they back and forth they went. A couple missed opportunities by both teams. Clemson, bases loaded in the 11th, I think, which with nobody out, didn't score a run. Tennessee had 2 runners on the corners with 1 out, I think, and didn't get anything until eventually Tennessee won. Clemson eventually stranded the runner third, which would have tied it again. So, and then I think Clemson the next day, because they had a turnaround, played an elimination game in Charlotte.
Yep.
Great look-ahead spot, just trap game right there. They scored 2 early runs early, did not do anything after. And and it's the same thing with football, Dylan. You let inferior teams hang around, what will happen?
Bad things.
And that's exactly what happened. Charlotte came storming back, tied it, eventually took the lead later in the inning, and the rest is history. Charlotte eliminated Clemson. That was one of the big names because a lot of people thought, they were rolling ACC champs, rolling in, hosting the regional, and they just didn't finish it.
We could just say right now, one of the hosts on this show was pretty high on Clemson himself, Mr. Hunter.
I was very host. I thought they were going to go all the way to the final.
Yeah, he did predict them to be.
I predicted them
was
to go to
it
the final.
The runner-up to Florida, right?
I thought Florida is going to win, and Florida almost got eliminated too this weekend, but they got out of it. They lost to Texas Tech, clawed their way back out of the losers bracket, won 2 games on Sunday. UConn in the morning knocked them out, took care of Texas Tech, turned around Monday. Wyatt Langford and BT Riot-Appel found their rhythm and just took care of Texas Tech. Wake Forest is a no-joke threat right now. They had no issues at all in any of their games this weekend. They started the game at 10:45 because of rain, and they had turned around and won 20-6 that game. So they're legit. Their pitching staff, there are 3 starters. Just they have legit arms, and it's just so hard, and their bats are so good that they are tough out.
They have future pros on that team, in my opinion. At least when it comes to that pitching side, there's guys who I think will make it to the big leagues eventually.
Oh,
not the biggest names on the market, on the biggest names out there, but I still think they're talented enough that you'll be hearing about them. Within the next couple of years. I think that was a big story, and I think the other big story of the weekend is, I want to hear your opinion. Was Arkansas really overrated, or is TCU a sleeper we aren't talking about enough?
I think it's more TCU. They come in, have been up and down really all year, I think. I hadn't really followed them a whole lot, but they came rolling into the Big 12 tournament, took care of business there, won it, go into the Arkansas Fayetteville Regional, and just They beat Arizona 4-2, I think, and then
Yep.
Trey Richardson, the star player for TCU, goes in, hits 3 home runs against Arkansas, including grand slams on back-to-back innings, had 11 RBIs on the day just in that game, completely took care of Arkansas, and then to go into Arkansas and go undefeated in that regional is something that's hard to do for any team, and that is kudos to them. They go in to beat Arkansas twice. Don't mess around with them. That's a good thing. You like when teams who have that one or that game one advantage take care of business. Don't let like opposing teams like that, especially if you have like one game up on the host team. We saw that with Texas A&M, Texas Tech. I'm trying to think who else. I think it was those two, Texas A&M, Texas Tech, really the two teams that squandered opportunities against host teams of Stanford and Florida. Both had a game up on them. Couldn't take them out when they had a shot. Turn around, you fall short. You saw teams like Virginia take care of business. Don't let them mess around. Indiana State did the same thing. Kudos, tear out. Not able to host, though, this upcoming week because of apparently there's too many people and not enough workers or something like that.
Yeah, it's being
which is a little bit of a nonchalant excuse because you just were able to host more teams than you are going into this week.
Which makes me think that the administration did not think they were going to win. We're going beyond that. They thought that their own team was going to get beat.
That could be the case, honestly. But so a little fortunate break for TCU as they get a Fort Worth regional or super regional. Try to just go through them. Just LSU dominant through the entire regional.
What?
Trying to think. Kentucky got out of the losers bracket. You're all good. Kentucky got out of the losers bracket early, evaded elimination, took care of West Virginia. Indiana, just forgot. Indiana was another one of those teams. Let the host team hang around, and Kentucky took right advantage of it.
I think the only other game that really stuck out for me was that UNC Iowa game. How many innings did that one go? It go 13 or 14 innings?
I think it went 13.
Yeah. That was a fun one. That one I was having fun watching that. Yes. And then they took it off ESPN2, and I was like, why? What's going on? No. It's like, you're joking. Come on.
Right. Some other regionals that I really didn't I didn't watch, but I keep up with.
Yeah.
Oregon taking care of the Nashville regional in Vanderbilt. Oral Roberts, the 4 seed. We saw a little magic from their basketball team a couple years ago. Look out for are they the Golden Eagles? What are they?
Yes, they are. Yep.
So look out for them. Maybe a little postseason magic. And how about Southern Miss? Southern Miss goes in, loses their first game to Stanford, and then turn around and win 4 in a row. Their coach, who's retiring after this year, they got one last run in them. 4 games in a row, they go in and win. Granted, you take care of Auburn in the first game, you take Stanford out, and then you take care of Penn in back-to-back games. Comeback games too. They were both trailing in both those games against Penn. So kudos to them. And Tennessee takes care of business in the Clemson regional.
I would say we're gonna have to see Southern Miss because they're gonna. To me, this is gonna be one of the hardest matchups you could have, really, against Tennessee.
They get a and I would agree with that. But they catch a fortunate break. So this was the only seed or game in the Supers that needed to be or that hadn't been announced yet for who was going to be hosting, and because they were both 2 seeds, both won their regional because they didn't host. And the NCAA came out and said, "Hey, Hattiesburg, Mississippi, you're going to be hosting." So Tennessee now has to go on the road, and they stink on the road, which is a big thing. Southern Miss.
For as much as they stunk on the road, they clutched up this past weekend in Clemson.
But now you got to beat the same team 3. You got to take a series now on the road.
Yeah.
You got to wait. You got a fortunate break. You only had to beat Clemson once. So, I'm not saying Tennessee can't win because they have good arms and their bats wake up as looks like they have. So be it. But Southern Miss at home. Granted, Southern Miss lost last year in Supers to Ole Miss. But I just feel like something's different this year. South Carolina woke up. I think getting healthy for them. They were injured down that last little bit of the stretch of the year. They're getting healthy now. They woke up in a big way this weekend in the Columbia Regional. Did not let Campbell, teams that I thought was going to win the regional, mess around. They just took care of them. Duke went into the Conway Regional in Coastal Carolina, won that. And TCU, we covered that. Texas goes down to Coral Gables. I thought they were going to win. Just Miami never really does anything in the postseason. It feels like every once in a while they get the trip to Omaha, but every year they host and they just seem to like run into their own way. Texas looked like the better team down the stretch. Yeah. And look at that. I mean, they take care of Miami twice. Alabama takes care of business in their regional. Tough break though. If you saw the ending when they played Troy in the winners bracket, Troy an out away from winning the game. Yeah. On a ground ball to short, and the guy has a horrible throw to first base, and then Alabama ends up getting around and scoring like the tying run, and then there was a walk off. Tough break for Troy because then they got eliminated in the losers bracket. But I think that we covered everything.
So I think it's time we tell everybody our predictions.
I think it is
for the Supers.
Yes. All right, so we'll move on now to Super Regionals and the predictions. So I think we'll just go through each region, say who you think's going to win and how many games and biggest reason. So we'll start with the number 1 overall seed, the Wake Forest. They're hosting the Winston-Salem Super Regional against Alabama, the 16th seed overall. I have Wake Forest winning in 2 games. Okay. And I just think that the pitching staff is gonna continue to dominate. I think they're just holding teams on lockdown right now, and as long as the bats keep rolling, and there's a reason why this team is the number 1 overall seed because they look the part. I'm gonna look up while you're talking how many runs they actually scored in all 3 of their games.
I don't know how many runs it was.
I'm going to look it up.
But I also agree with you. I think they'll win in 3 games.
Okay.
I had Wake in 3 games. Only because I do think Alabama is still a really good team. They're going to put up a good fight.
Take Bama money line.
But I still think Wake Forest is just so much better. The only thing they really have to worry about in this Super Regional is the number 1 curse. I think that's the biggest thing if you were a betting person is to be wary about is because number 1 seed always this is the spot they fall down in, right?
Yeah.
So I just think they're so much better though.
Yeah, as long as I feel like if they don't mess around, they will be just fine. I'm trying to find the man, they like to blow out teams. 12 plus. So they scored 48 runs in 3 games. They only played 3 games. They only gave up 1. Excuse me. That was not a fart. Anyway. 1. Crap. Where are they? Oh, here they are. 7. So they scored 48 runs and only gave up 7. They shut out George Mason. They gave up 6 to Maryland in the 21-6 win. And then they turned around and beat George Mason again in the finals, 10-1. So, or 15-1, excuse me.
Yeah.
So they're
legit.
I just think they're too much for Alabama.
Yeah.
And when you have to go to Winston-Salem, and that's a hitter-friendly ballpark. So maybe they get the bats going, but I just think it's too much, Wake.
I just think Alabama will steal a game.
Maybe. I think they'll have to play their best game, but do they have enough to get another game out of that? That's the issue.
I doubt it. That's the thing I think they'll steal like the first game. I think they'll steal like that first game there because they're just gonna get hot. They're gonna have a great like fourth inning where they hit maybe one home run. They bring in 2 batters. They put up 3 in an inning, and their pitching just stays clutch for one night, and then that's it.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing with these supers, though. Is like game 1 is so important because you had that one. It's best 2 out of 3. You get the first game. Now you can think about how do you want to approach the second game as far as who you starting. Are you saving your best arms for that game? Like how's that going? That mindset. But so you have Wake in 3. I have Wake in 2.
Yep.
Either way, the Demon Deacons we have going to Omaha.
Yeah.
All right. So the next game is going to be in Stanford, or the next regional is going to be in Stanford, California, where the Stanford Cardinal will be hosting the Texas Longhorns. I have Texas winning this in 3 games.
Me too.
And I just think the biggest reason is Stanford does this weird game, and they do this every year where they will let the first team win. And then they just, for some reason, like realize, oh, wait, we should be winning this. And then they all of a sudden just like turn around and like they just jumpstart their team. And then all of a sudden they're just rallying and just scoring runs and dominating. I saw it this past weekend where Texas A&M it looked like they were the better team and they beat them. And then all of a sudden, Texas A&M, all he had to do was beat them 1 out of 2 more times and couldn't. They just struggled and didn't score anything and were giving up a bunch of runs. But I just think Stanford can't play this game.
Yeah.
They can't keep getting away with it like that meme. Can't keep getting away with it.
Yeah, no, I clearly agree with you. I think Stanford plays sloppy, and then against a team like Texas, who, quite frankly, I think you could argue is probably second or third most talented roster in at the NCAA Division I level. You can't make mistakes against them. Like they're a team that will pounce on you.
I mean, they pounced on Miami and never let them have a shot.
Yeah, no, it was,
Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I agree with you in that Miami was, even going into this tournament, that they got to host it because they've been a great team this year. And Miami just had the smallest little problems with their team, and Texas is the kind of team that can just blow up those mistakes. They can make them. You can make that blow up in their face. Yeah. So I 100%. Yeah, I have Texas in 2 games
for sure. Yeah, I'm just looking at the last game. Miami was jumped up to a 3-0 lead in that regional final, and then Texas just exploded for a 9-run third.
Yeah,
and that's what they can do. They can win the low scoring games. They can win the high scoring games, and I think that Longhorns will be packing the trip. But I do think in 3 because Stanford plays a game like I just said where they will they'll just wake up and be like, oh wait, we got to play. An elimination game. I don't know. Maybe they just like playing under elimination, like that pressure. I don't know why.
I don't know.
Maybe it's just some teams like pressure more than others. Yeah. I mean, I would prefer to play with a lead than putting all my chips in every time. But hey, do what you got to do. All right, so we'll move on now to the Baton Rouge region.
Yeah,
where we'll have we have 1 of 2 SEC Super Regional, where LSU and Kentucky will face off. That will be, I guess I should have been saying the game times because I have the ESPN app pulled up. So, actually, none of the games we got to play are on Friday. Huh. So, Alabama, right before we'll start, Alabama, Wake Forest, they'll kick it off at noon Eastern, game 1 on Saturday. And then we only have excuse me. There's only 4 games on Friday for Supers. And then so we got Duke, Virginia.
Okay.
So we have the 1 ACC matchup, and then TCU, Indiana State, South Carolina, Florida, Oral Roberts, Oregon. So we got, and then Stanford, Texas will kick off at 6 o'clock on Saturday. LSU, Kentucky game 1 will be at 3 o'clock. All right. So the LSU Tigers will be hosting the Kentucky Wildcats, LSU zoomed and soared right through the regional, led by, the big names. Paul Skeens, complete game against Tulane, which really helped him out. And then they had like the big rain. There was a big, the weather down there also kind of helped him, because pitching in these regionals, if your starters can go a long way and just dominate, and you can preserve your bullpen, and it plays such a huge role. And I think that helped him out a lot too, because when you have Paul Skeens go out and throw a complete game in the first game and take care of business, now you have your entire rotation and bullpen fresh, ready to go going forward. And then they got another day because I think their game got pushed back. So it really ended up helping out right there. I think, again, playing down at Alex Box Stadium is one of the harder places to play. That place is going to be rolling. I think it's too much LSU. I think LSU in 2. Yeah. I think Skeens is going to start game 1, dominate how he always does. And then I forget their other guys they'll throw. I mean, they have 2 other guys more than capable of starting. Yeah. And then you have guys like Trey Morgan, Dylan Cruz, Tommy Tanks, Tommy White. They have so many weapons. I think Kentucky showed good resilience, though, bouncing back after the Indiana upset. But too much Tigers, Dylan. Too much.
I also had LSU in 2 games. The biggest thing to me is their lineup is just so good. Yeah. Like, it feels like everybody in that lineup can hit. Yeah. Everybody in that lineup is as a pitcher, you got to be ready. You know what I mean? You can't pick guys to pitch to and pick guys not to pitch to. It's a pitcher's nightmare. So I 100% think LSU's going to win in 2 games, and I think they might be my favorite as of now to go all the way.
Yeah. I'm trying to. Yeah, Ty Floyd is another guy. I have their whole roster. Thatcher Hurd. Those are the 3 big guys right there. As a team, they're hitting .314 as a team right now.
Yeah. No. I mean, you can't really get much better than that as a whole team, right?
Their team ERA is 4.64, but they're holding opponents to a 2.27 average.
Yeah.
31-7 at home LSU is, where they're 12-5 away, 3-3 neutral. That's really says it all right there.
Yeah, and this is a regional at home too, so they're going to have a massive advantage against Kentucky here.
Yeah, I think too much Tigers.
Too much Dylan Cruz, man. That guy is going to be
future Pittsburgh Pirate. You can see it now, guys. The light. He'll help us not lose 2 out of 3 to Oakland.
You just got to get ready.
Yo, when you have Reynolds, Cruz, Key Brian Hayes, Cruz, back-to-back Cruz missiles. Yeah. Oh my gosh! Just wait for that call.
Question is, who's the odd man out in that roster, right?
Austin Hedges. Anyway,
Sawinski, Reynolds,
and
Cruz in the outfield. That's pretty good.
Yeah, well, then you still have Topeka, Marcano, G1 Bay, Connor Joe.
Connor Joe can play infield too.
Yeah, he's been playing a lot more second base as of late. They've been having Marcano at short because of Cruz's hurt. But I think ideally you'd I know we're getting way off topic, but talk about Pittsburgh Pirate baseball. But, ideally you'd Key Brian Hayes at third. Eventually Henry Davis is going to be at the catcher. Andy Rodriguez will be up soon. You'll have Cruz at short. Would assume probably Joe at second.
Yeah.
And then at first, right now they got Carlos Santana, who's not a bad guy. Then you have, you'll probably have Sawinski, Reynolds, and Cruz.
That's what I would think in the outfield.
A perfect world. But, it's going to be that's a long way down the road, depending on how long they keep. If they draft Cruz, I would not be upset if it took Cruz, Langford, Paul Skeens. We could always use another.
They might, I would say they probably would actually go for a pitcher, really.
I think Cruz is just too much.
That's what I would think, but if you're out, because I also, we're getting really off topic here, but I think O'Neal Cruz will eventually get moved to the outfield.
I don't think that.
It's just his size at shortstop.
But
I
he's
think
so
it's too prone to
athletic.
injury. He's just going to be prone to injury.
I don't think that. Here, 1 second. I gotta look.
No, you're good. You're good.
Unbelievable. What are you doing? See, that's where I think you're wrong, because he's so athletic that why not keep him there? If anything, I could see them moving him to third.
But you got Ke'Bryan Hayes at third.
I see. Ke'Bryan Hayes is actually one of the best third basemen in the league.
Exactly. He's like a platinum glove third baseman. You know what I mean?
I see. I don't mind Cruz at short because he's so long and lengthy and athletic that he's able to cover up and get to a ball fast.
Yeah.
I mean, you're 6'7", and you can move like that. Why not?
That's the only thing.
Because he's not built like Aaron Judge, where Aaron Judge has to go out in the outfield, really. Yeah. Otherwise, the DH him. Like, he's skinnier frame, but still just an absolute unit.
I just think he's gonna be in a situation similar to like Tatis, right, where he has all the talent in the world to play shortstop.
Well, Tatis actually led the league in errors, but that's a different story. But I get what you're saying.
Yeah, no, it's just with the arm and stuff, moving him to right field might be more beneficial to his play, and he'll be able to rack up more numbers there. And I think it would help him more long term if he could focus less on his problems, possibly with defense, and focus on hitting, because he's got to bring down that strikeout rate. Anyways, let's get back to college baseball.
That I would agree with. We'll see how he is when he comes back. He should be back, I think, by late July.
So that's what they're saying. Yeah, right after the All-Star break.
He's in a walking boot right now, which is
love to see that.
Love to see it. All right, so we're gonna move on now to the Hattiesburg Regional, where the Southern Mississippi Golden Eagles, Southern Miss Golden Eagles will take on the Tennessee Volunteers. Southern Miss gets the nod to host. I think I watched this Southern Miss team and this Auburn Regional more than anything else this weekend. Them and probably Florida.
Okay.
Southern Miss when you think they're down, they were down 4 runs in the game 2 of this regional final. They were down 5-1.
Yeah.
And when you think they're down, they are not. They explode and just burst. I'm trying to pull up that game. It was crazy. I was like, holy cow, they were down 5-1. Here it is. They won. So they were down 5-1 going into the bottom of the 4th. They scored 4 runs and tie it. They ended up stranding the runner. They had the bases loaded with 1 out, and they rolled it to a double play to end the inning to Penn to get out of it. So they tied it up, and then 3 more runs in the 6th. They gave up 2 in the 7th, but another 3 in the 8th. The night before, it was 3-2 going into the 9th against Penn. They were up 1. Yeah. Explode for what was it? They were up 2-1, I think.
Yeah.
Was it 2-1? Let me see.
Hold on. And so when you're talking about on the 4th?
Yes. Yeah, they were up. They were up 2-1 going to the top of the 9th, explode for 8 runs. Crazy. They won 11-2 that game. This team's never out of it. The Bats are alive. And again, that's so big, getting to play at home instead of on the road.
Yeah.
Because I think it's a tough break for either team if whoever had to go on the road, and especially in this matchup. But I think being at home is their pitching. I think the Bats have got to stay going, because I think that Tennessee's going to pounce on this pitching that they have. But I like Southern Miss in 3 games.
Southern Miss in 3 games?
I like the Golden Eagles in 3. They play Saturday at 3 o'clock.
Very respectable. I do disagree with you, though. Kind of hard. I say Tennessee in 2 games.
Okay.
Simply because I am 100% on the Tennessee train right now.
That's disgusting. That is despicable.
To be fair, I was on the Tennessee train last week when we were talking about the regionals. I said they were going to win the regional over Clemson.
True.
Not to toot my own horn. I was correct. They did beat Clemson. But I just think Tennessee is on a roll. And when you get, especially in baseball, you get a team that's in a rhythm, that's on a roll, that just can continue to win games. It's very hard to beat them, especially when you're like a Tennessee and you have the talent. You've always had the talent. It's been little problems being able to do it consistently, and now that they're on a consistent roll, I think they're going to win this. Not to say anything wrong with Southern Miss, I do think they're a good team. I just think I'm looking at Tennessee and I'm like, dang, that's a good baseball team. That is a good baseball team.
It's just, it worries me. I'm going to try to pull up the stat here when it loads. Here we go. It just worries me that on the road this year, they're 5-12.
Yeah.
At home, they're 33-5. That worries me because, and to be honest, I mean, this regional, they got away from, they only had to play Clemson once. I mean, it's nothing against them. You get stuck, you get to play Charlotte twice.
Yeah.
I mean,
you can't do anything about that. It's not
can't
their
do anything
fault.
about it. Again, like I said, it's not their fault. But I mean, so you don't really get tested a whole lot. And again, nothing on them. I mean, kudos to them going undefeated through the regional, but 5-12 is not a good stat you want to have going on, especially that just says that you're not good at home, or when you're not at home
on the road,
not very good, and that would worry me some if I was a Tennessee fan. And I think that's why if you see like it on Twitter and stuff, they're not happy about it because they probably know back in the head they're like, geez, like we got to go now on the road in a hostile crowd for a best of 3, and that's not good. So like it's a team that quite frankly is rolling just as much as they are. So we'll have to keep an eye on this one because Southern Miss wins. When Southern Miss wins, Dylan, I'm just saying. You're gonna be sorry. So
okay. All right.
Let's go Eagles. Right. Go Eagles. All right, we'll move on now to the Gainesville regional on the other side of the bracket. Where Florida, the number 2 overall seed, will take on the South Carolina Gamecocks. Rematch of earlier this year when South Carolina swept the Gators.
Yeah.
Granted, it was in Columbia. Gamecocks now got to go to Florida for this best of 3. This will be one of the 4 games that kicks off on Friday. South Carolina woke up this weekend, and if they can bring the bats into Gainesville, look out, because I think Florida, though, did a great job bouncing back, showing their resiliency. The pitching honestly for this weekend for the Gators was outstanding. I mean, even in the loss, they lost 5-4. The starter, I forget his name, but pitched pretty well. And so he only gave up like 3. I think he only gave up 3 runs, which, I mean, in college baseball, that's not bad at all. So I think this is going to be a very good series. I have Florida in 3 only because, they're at home. But game 1 of this series is going to tell a lot about who's going to win this series, I think. And it'll be interesting to see who Florida starts. They started Caglione for game 1 of the regional. It'll be interesting to see if they start him again for game 1 of this regional. But I think if the Gators have their bullpen working like they did this past weekend, I think that gives them a little bit of the nod.
Yeah. No, I agree. I had Florida in 3. The only thing that worries me is I was looking at the numbers. A lot of the experts think South Carolina is going to win in 3, particularly because for how good this Florida team has been, they were not dominant at all in conference. They went 20-10.
Yes. I mean, they were co-SEC champs in the regular season, which means Jack Diddley squat. So was West Virginia, and they went 1-2. I do think South Carolina's bats. I think I would rely, if I was leaning more offensively, I would say South Carolina is going to has the nod. But I think pitching overall. But South Carolina's pitching staff is just as good. So I think this has a chance to be one of the best regionals, Supers. And it's kind of sucks that because both these teams are so good that only one of them gets to go to Omaha.
Yeah.
That's what I always try to watch when I'm watching, especially the regionals and stuff. Some of these matchups, some of these teams get stuck with where they're heading and stuff, who they're playing. It's man, both these teams could honestly be jockeying for a spot in Omaha right now. But unfortunately,
there's only so many spots.
Exactly, there's only 8 spots.
That's sad.
Correct. I mean, like Stanford, Texas A&M, like both those teams are legit guys, contenders.
I agree with you absolutely there. I think they both.
Tennessee, Clemson.
Yeah. Well, yeah. No, yeah, for sure.
I mean, as bad as Tennessee is on the road, they're still a legit baseball club.
Yeah.
But their inconsistencies are a little bit there too. But I think that if you can just find your rhythm late in the season like this, you are as good of a shot as anybody.
Yeah.
You know. So
I think if Florida's going to win this regional, right, they really got to rely on Wyatt Langford to have a crazy offensive weekend.
He had a great weekend.
Yeah.
Or great week. And I tell you what, though, if you're a Florida fan, you have got to love that BT Riopelle woke up, snapped his 0 for 15 regional streak on Monday with 2 homers. 2 homers. I think he had a single, too. But nevertheless, I mean, you've got to love that. Trying to see. I'm trying to find the old stat-a-roonies right now because, we're all about digging into the stats.
We're all about the quiet numbers, everybody.
Exactly. Come on, guys. Batting totals. I need totals. As a team, they're batting 294. Gosh, that's crazy. OPS is 945. Jeez. Please. Game by game. Texas Tech. I mean, I just think the pitching was so good this week, and I think that's what overall takes the cake here. I mean, aside from the Texas Tech game, they only allowed the most runs they gave up. They had 2 shutouts, and the most runs they gave up were 2. So
it's hard to match back then. It really, I mean,
South Carolina gave up a bunch of runs, but they were able to score a bunch. So this is going to be a good one.
I agree with you.
So how many games did you say, though?
I said 3.
Okay, so you had 3 too. Okay.
Yeah. I'm just saying, a lot of the experts, for some reason, are really pulling on South Carolina to win this. And I'm like, man, should my opinion be different?
No, because a lot of experts also are idiots are like sheep that'll just follow anybody.
Yeah, that's fair.
We're not sheep here. We're the black wolf, okay, that goes in and takes out the sheep. Okay?
I think the correct term is lone wolf.
Well, same thing. A black lone wolf.
Black lone wolf.
That's pretty sweet. Again,
I mean, that's not bad.
Camouflage at night. Takes them out one by one. Anyway. All right, we'll move on, though. UVA, Duke, Charlottesville Regional. I got the Hooves.
Yeah.
In 2 games.
Me too. Me too.
I just think, again, it's just something when you get home field in these games, in these regionals. I mean, that's such a big thing. Virginia's been a legit team all year.
Yeah.
I just don't see it stopping now. I mean, they kept the East Carolina team that I thought was going to win the regional in check the entire time.
Yeah.
Don't see it stopping now.
Yeah,
give me Virginia too.
I thought the same thing. Good season for the Blue Devils, but it ends here.
Yeah.
This is where it ends.
Yeah. Moving on. Oregon, Oral Roberts, the Ducks get out of the Nashville Regional and get to host. So the game is going to be in Eugene. And I like the Ducks in 2 games. I think Oregon was able to go in, take care of business in Vanderbilt. And yet, I don't want to call it a break because I don't want us putting disrespect to Oral Roberts, but excuse me. Because Oral Roberts, if you watch, they were down 8-1 to another Pac-12 team, Washington, came back and won 13-10. So, not putting any disrespect towards Oral Roberts because they are a very good ball club, but give me Oregon. I think Duckies quack their way to Omaha.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think Oregon's going to win, but I think 3 games because I got to give Oral Roberts that respect. They are a quality team. And if you look at their numbers across the board, they've been great all year. I got to give them that respect.
Yeah.
The Ducks are better though.
Yeah. Plus, when you have the uniform advantage, I mean, come on.
I mean, it's kind of hard to lose, right? can't lose when he got the check.
Right. I'm trying to think of a cool stat. So cool nugget here. So one of the Oregon, Oral Roberts, TCU, and Indiana State.
Yep.
All 4 of those teams will be going to Omaha. One of those 4 teams was going to go, or TCU, who's actually been there. So Oral Roberts, Oregon, and Indiana State. I couldn't even tell you the last time either. All 3 of those teams went to Omaha. So could be cool to see one of those 3 teams.
Has Oral Roberts ever been to Omaha? I wouldn't think so.
Maybe once, if that. I don't even know. I'd have to look that up.
I'll take a peek for you right now.
Okay. All right. So we'll move on though to our final super regional, where Fort Worth, where Indiana State and TCU will.
1978.
That was
1945
45 years ago, right?
Yep.
So TCU and Indiana State will kick it off. It'll be the final regional, I guess, since we're going in that order. But they'll kick it off on Friday, at 5:00. Indiana State is the host, technically the host team.
Yeah.
But they're in Fort Worth and TCU because of some issues apparently with scheduling and getting enough workers and availability where people were able to, stay and all that at Indiana and Sycamore.
Yeah.
Or Terre Haute, excuse me. They're the Sycamores as a school.
You're right.
Tough break for Indiana State. Well, that place had a great environment for the regionals. But you said earlier you think that the administration didn't think they were going to win.
Yeah.
They caught them off guard some. I mean, they went undefeated.
Yeah, no, that's what. It's just one of those situations where I've never heard of this happening before.
And they weren't even like a 16; they were a 14
no,
seed.
They hosted a regional. They did what they did all season. They won baseball games, so they get the reward of getting to host another one. And the school was like, "Oh, we didn't think you guys were gonna do this. We don't have staff. We don't have the staff for this."
Hate to see it.
So
our entire grounds crew planned family vacations for this weekend, so we can't.
Yeah, no, nobody's on staff. Everybody went home. What do you mean?
That's so bad.
But I think this is going to kill Indiana State.
Although it could rejuvenate them because now they don't have to worry about. Now you go on the road. You just have strictly business now. It's like a business trip. So
yeah,
could be a little lit up fire under the old booty hole for the old Sycamores.
I just think with TCU getting to play in Arkansas, right? They got to play pretty close.
Yeah.
They did great. They won. They put up crazy numbers in that game against Arkansas. And then they just get to go home, sit down and relax. While Indiana State has to freak out about their situation. Players, families don't know where they're playing. I think it's going to be more of a mental toll on them.
Yeah.
And I think TCU takes advantage and wins.
I think TCU is just this late season renaissance is what we're seeing. And what they did in Arkansas is all I need to know that they'll win in 3 games.
Yeah.
No, do not take this Sycamore team from Indiana State lightly because they took care of a great Iowa team. Didn't ever play the North Carolina, but I don't even think North Carolina was going to beat them. Look out. I think that's why it goes 3 games, but getting to play at home instead of on the road, I think is a difference maker.
Yeah.
And so give me the Horned Frogs who are rolling right now. Yeah. All right.
Great year for that school.
Great year. Well, bad ending,
Well, yeah, I mean, they weren't even expected to win the conference. Oh, man.
We see that's
crazy.
Shirt,
that's crazy. Right You're stepping on the frog?
Yeah. So,
Bulldogs aren't that big. Come on.
65-7 says otherwise. So, go Dogs. This is why we love this show. Go Dogs. Off topic here as a random question for you. Does it ever bother you when you're driving and you see a car in front of you or whatever, and they just have a sticker or a license plate or whatever of like an opposing team that you just can't stand? Do you ever just get annoyed by that?
All the time.
I get so annoyed.
Especially,
and I just want to get past them and get right in front of them and just know that I'm the best.
The worst. I hate it because Does your truck have like a UGA sticker on it?
We have 2 national title stickers on one side and a UGA sticker on the other side, smaller ones but noticeable, and we got the UGA license plate frame on the back.
Nice.
But I can't stand when I see a Florida license plate, or like Alabama. I see a lot down here. Seen some Tennessee ones.
Yeah.
Just can't stand. It just gives me like a rash.
No, I completely understand what you're saying. I hate when I see there's a combination of ones I hate, right? I hate the Florida ones because for some reason Florida fans often
Suck at driving.
Not to lump them all together, but they got no like comprehension of what looks good on the back of a car, right?
Or they're all these fancy like SUVs.
Yeah, no, but you get a lot of SUVs where they take like a gator sticker and they just place it over the back window like sideways. Like, what is that?
There's
that
this
looks disgusting.
ugly Jeep that is just it's like a Florida themed Jeep, and it has like orange rims, blue Jeep. It has like orange handprints, and just Florida stickers everywhere, and it makes me just want to barf.
Yeah. I hate those. You don't see it as much, but the only Miami stuff I see in this town is I see all the time there's this like BMW and it has like the little guy peeing.
Yeah.
There's a guy peeing on the Florida State logo with a U on it. And I'm like, what is that? He really he's got like the New York Yankees license plate too, so it's like a double like
classic Miami guy.
He's probably a Cowboys fan too.
Maybe.
I mean, let's be real here. I mean, that's like the classic combo, right? They're like, oh yeah, they're like, I love the New York Yankees, the Miami Hurricanes, the Dallas Cowboys, the Lakers, and let's get some Montreal Canadiens in there. You froze on me?
Uh-oh. Are we back?
Froze on me there for a second. Yeah.
I was changing my Wi-Fi because, I was for some reason my internet connected me to the old Wi-Fi. It was a little slow, but we're back.
Weird.
That's what we do here on this podcast. One team, one dream, overcome adversity. I think that deserves a round of applause right there.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Yeah, absolutely.
If you're watching on YouTube, what a moment right there. The 52-minute mark.
Was not what you guys were probably expecting either. Came out of nowhere.
Probably not. All right. We'll move on now to conference championship winners and runner-up. Back over to college football. As we've kind of been doing the last couple of weeks, we're just slowly crawling our way to the start of college football. We're under 90 days now. Yeah, I think, or close.
We're pretty close.
Well, because we're a week ahead of NFL. And the NFL is like at 90 something or low 90s. So we're in the 80s.
Yeah.
So, which you love to see. Second of all, so we'll just be doing another list here. Predictions, what we love to see. So this week we're going to be doing our Power 5, who we think
79 days, by the way. 79 days.
79. Under 80.
Yep. What we're talking about.
That's what we love to see. So this week we're going to be doing our Power 5 conference championship winners and runner-up predictions. And, So, Dylan, which conference do you want to start in?
Oh, let's start with the SEC, your boys.
Holy cow. Excuse me. All right. Sounds good to me. All right, so I'll just do the winner and runner-up, and then you'll do yours.
Exactly.
All right, so my winner of the SEC, I think, is Georgia. I think their schedule sets up really nice. I think they'll win the East by a landslide. I think Carson Beck is as good as advertised. I think he's their only tough hiccup is going to be that late game in Tennessee where they'll go to Knoxville. But the last 3 times they've gone to Knoxville, they've only given up a combined – what was the score? They've only allowed up, I think the most points they allowed was 17. Something like that. So not worried at all. Included 2017 when we went when they had their like checkered game against us.
Yeah.
And we won 41-0. So
they'll probably do the checkered game against you guys.
Or it'll be like the solid orange.
Yep.
I'm not worried. Like I said,
Mm-hmm.
not worried at all. Those fans can just go sing Rocky Top from the top of their lungs and go fishing in the dark for all I care. But they ain't not scared about it. So I really don't see any real major bump because you get Kentucky at home, you get Missouri at home this year. We get, you go to Vanderbilt, which is nothing. Auburn is an early season one where it could be. Jordan Hare is always a weird place to play.
Yeah.
You get South Carolina at home. I think Georgia rolls into the SEC title game, and I think they will be playing and beating the LSU Tigers.
Okay. Yeah.
I think LSU. I think LSU is going to win the West. Their only game they go to Bama, which they haven't really had much success with since. Well, I mean they won in 19, but other than that, second year now with Jaden Daniels and Brian Kelly. Yeah. I think anything less than 10 wins for them is a bad thing.
It's an absolute failure, in my opinion.
Their over-under, I think, is at 9.5 right now, though.
I think that you have to win at least 10. If you win less than 10 games, you're taking a step back from last year.
Yeah. I think it's New Year's 6 for a team like this or bust.
Yep. So, I had the exact same as you, primarily because I think UGA, even if Beck isn't as good as advertised, they're still head and shoulders better than everybody else in the East, and just the SEC in general. So I don't really think there's any argument for anybody outside of Georgia coming out of the East this year. But when it comes to the West, I think it's a two-man race between Bama and LSU. And I think the fact that Bama doesn't really have a clear number one quarterback yet.
I think it'll be Buckner.
Yeah, we think, but we don't know.
True, and problem. Even if I'm not like shivering in my boots from Tyler Buckner.
Exactly.
He's a good quarterback.
He's
good, but he's not.
Yeah.
Something I should be losing sleep over.
This is not another Tua Tagovailoa, right? This is not a superstar as far as we can tell. Or Mac Jones or
they just
Bama,
don't have
Jalen
the
Hurts.
Weapons. They don't have the weapons on the outside as we were accustomed to seeing. And they're going to be more of a ground and pound physical team this year. But I just think that LSU's ahead. I think LSU's a little bit better.
No, I absolutely agree with you. And I think, personally, LSU halfway through the season is going to end up switching over to, is it Nuttmeyer? Is that how you say his last name?
Yeah. Gutmeyer or, yes.
I think it's, yeah.
I'm going to look it up.
But I think they're going to end up switching to him just because Nussmeier, Garrett Nussmeier.
Yes, Nussmeier.
I think he'll eventually take the job. Only because I think there's more possibilities with the offense with him in it.
He has a better
Jalen Daniels. I think he just has a much better arm.
I think even if he's only a freshman last year, I mean, even if he sits this year, I bet you they didn't redshirt.
They redshirted him.
They did. So he has another year of eligibility. Why not? Unless Jaden Daniels struggles, I don't see him getting out of the starting role. So
I only think they might drop an early game this year. Like, I think they might lose the game to Florida State and go, we got to make a change or we're done. You know what I mean? Just
I think it depends on how the game goes. I think if it's a shellacking, that's one thing, and he has a horrible game. But if it's neck and neck down the wire, just two good defenses playing, two good offenses playing, I mean, that's a different story. I think you just got to stick with it. But I do think Nussmeier is a better quarterback than Daniels, but Daniels has obviously he's already been named a starter. You know, I think Brian Kelly trusts him with the offense.
No, I agree with you there. Yeah,
more. And because honestly, I feel like if he didn't have like 100% trust in him, there would still be a QB competition going on, but there isn't. I think it's Daniel's team not to lead. It's his job to lose. In a sense. So, but UGA over LSU, we both like.
Yep. Yeah.
All right.
I guess we'll move to ACC.
We'll move to ACC. I have the Clemson Tigers winning it again, and Florida State as the runner-up with the no divisions. I do think North Carolina is a sneaky other team I had just outside, or Miami, but Clemson FSU is my and it's because Clemson's just they've been the kings of the ACC for like a decade now, and it just until somebody shows me otherwise and some other team steps up and beats them in an ACC title game, what else am I supposed to say? It feels like we play the story where like maybe this is the year. Duke was or North Carolina was really good going in. Miami was awesome that one year. It would just suck because the Coastal was so bad. Or was it the Atlantic?
Coastal, yeah.
Coastal was so bad. I mean, the best team out of there was Pitt, Wake Forest, and Miami or North Carolina.
Yeah.
But like, none of those teams are ever going to. Miami was also in it, but like, none of those teams are ever going to stack up to them, Clemson or Florida State. So, I mean, I think that's really the only reason. I think Florida State has a legit shot to be in the playoff. Yes, but I also think Clemson has Cade Klubnik now in a full offseason with what's the OC Riley? What's his first name? Garrett Riley. Garrett Riley, who is going to get, I think, a new taste in what offense should be like. So give me the Tigers winning this.
Sorry.
What? Oh, you're all good. I just thought, give me the Tigers over the Rise.
No, that's fair. I still, obviously, I have bias here. I do think Florida State going into this year, I think they can make that jump. I'll be at that game against LSU in Death Valley Junior later this year.
You mean Clemson?
Clemson. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
Are you going to the LSU game?
Oh no, I'm going to the Clemson game. I don't know what I was thinking, but I might. Depends on how cheap the tickets are because I'm
sure you can find cheap tickets. Use Game Time.
Yeah, and we got to get that code.
Code Knowles and Dogs.
Save 20% at checkout.
On your first purchase.
But I got friends in Orlando, so I'd be able to stay and go. But anyways, I think they can make that jump because I think they have the weapons. I think Norvell has proven this past year and his time at Memphis that he is a good enough coach that he can get the best out of some guys who may not have been there. And I think some of their transfers they got are going to make a massive difference. Like I haven't heard too much talk about it, but getting Ventrell Cypress from Virginia is such a massive pickup.
Jaheim Bell, I know from South Carolina.
From South Carolina too.
Keon Coleman.
Yep.
Listen, I mean, I do think Florida State has a really good shot. It's just that, again, until other proven otherwise. And I do think it just adds to how much bigger of a game that Clemson game is going to be at the end of September. But we're going to see a lot of what Florida State's all about when they have LSU the opening night or opening weekend.
Sunday night.
That's gonna be a big game or a big telling tale of what these teams are.
Yeah.
Like, granted, it's the first game, but it says a lot about.
Big deal.
You got to show up ready to go, and then you're gonna see really how you really stack up against Clemson when you go to Clemson. So
it's gonna be a ranked top 15 matchup to start the season like that.
Hopefully,
I think it will be because we finished 12th. They finished what? 8-14, somewhere around there.
Something like that. Yeah.
So I think both teams will end up starting the season within that top 15. So I think LSU will be a little bit higher, but still.
Yeah. All right, we'll move on to the Big Ten, where and call me crazy here, this is my big one. I know I've said this. I've been high on this team. I think going in. I think Wisconsin wins the Big Ten this year. And I think they win the Big Ten, and I think Michigan is the runner-up. Give me all the Badger stock. I want it all. I think Luke Fickell I'm telling you what he did in Cincinnati. You don't just do that at a group of 5 school. and turn around and take it to the playoff and a 4-team playoff. I mean, the way he sustained success. Oh my God, I can't speak. I'm telling you, there's something in the water up in Madison. They got rid of that ancient civilization that was Paul Chris, and they brought in new, fresh mind and Luke Fickell. You bring in a new QB. You get rid of Graham Mertz. You ship him down to Gainesville. Thanks. Appreciate it.
Yeah, we're going to love it this year.
You bring Tanner Mordecai, who averages it seems like 5,000 yards easy every year. You keep Braylon Allen, who was rumored to transfer. You keep him. I'm sure their defense is always going to be good. Luke Fickell's really known for his defense too. So I'm telling you, I think Wisconsin being in the West takes care of business. But I do think Michigan takes care of Ohio State again this year.
Yeah, me too.
Avoids Penn State, who I think's gnawing at their tail the entire year. But I still don't believe in J.J. McCarthy as much as people do. I know Harbaugh's been recruiting really well, and they got probably another great team ahead of them. They got Corum coming back with who's the other guy?
Oh. I don't remember his name. I feel bad right now. Wow.
They have both backs coming back.
Yeah.
So they're going to be a good team, but I just think I don't know. I just get something about Wisconsin. I was talking to a Wisconsin fan today at work. They think the same. They're hoping their hopes are high, and so are mine. Let's go Badgers. Go Badgers. Shout out Big Cat. Barstool, being the big Badger fan he is. Rolling the Badgers.
So I'm gonna start off by saying I think you're not that crazy. I had Wisconsin.
Call me crazy. Call me crazy.
I'm not gonna call you crazy.
Because when we look back from now in December, when I'm a genius, when we go in December when Minnesota's playing in the Big Ten title game, call me a nut, just a big old dum-dum. Either way.
So I think Michigan wins the Big Ten again, just because even with J.J. McCarthy, I do agree with you being a little bit underwhelming. I still think they're just all around good, right? Like I don't think they have outside of him. I don't think they have another weakness on that team. So I think they still win. I did have Wisconsin as a runner-up, but my only real bold prediction for the Big Ten is that Penn State Michigan will be a closer game than Ohio State Michigan, and Michigan beats Ohio State again.
You said Michigan Penn State will be a better game.
Closer game, yeah.
Okay, I could see that.
Yeah.
1 second.
No, you're good.
Okay.
All right. So let's move on.
We'll move on to the Big 12 now, where I think Kansas State wins it. I think they would be back-to-back champs. How often do we see that? And which never happens in the Big 12. So this is probably a horrible pick. For all my money it's going to be UCF winning it. So
yeah, I thought about it. I thought about that. I'm not even gonna lie to you.
I got Texas as the runner-up though. I think Texas does one last kumbaya run through the Big 12 or shipping off to the SEC. Yeah. But I just think Kansas State, they got what's his name coming back? Their quarterback.
Hold on, I got you.
Look at them. Look at them up, and then their coach up. Chris Kleiman is their coach.
So, Kansas State's quarterback Adrian Martinez.
No, not him.
But they got a transfer from Minnesota, Jacob Kuntz.
No, who's their? No, they have a returning quarterback.
Jake Rubley.
No.
Parker Kavanaugh, Avery Johnson.
No.
Adra Lara.
No.
Those are the quarterbacks on their roster right now. No, or not. Will Howard.
There it is, Will Howard.
Why was he not on the names there? That makes no sense.
So Will Howard was the best quarterback in that roster last year, and it only took Adrian Martinez getting hurt to see that. Completely changed that, made their offense way more explosive, it seemed like.
Yeah.
And this will be the first year without Deuce Vaughn, who felt like was there for 15 years. He's gone now to the NFL, but I still think Chris Klieman, who's one of the better upcoming coaches, I think in the college football, I think has another good year, another good squad, and the Big 12 is always just spin the wheel and guess who's going to win, but I think they get it done again. I think they have a good year. If not winning it, I think they're at least in the Big 12 title game. Texas is a very good team this year again, but do they live up to expectations? No. But I do think that they're able to get into the title game. I think that's like a 50-50 game if that was a Vegas line right now.
So I had Texas winning the Big 12.
Okay.
For with Sarkisian last year in the Big 12, I think they finally get over that hump. I don't think it's going to be a dominant season by Texas, but more the Big 12 is the Big 12, and they squeak their way to the top, and they sit as champs with 10 wins.
Yeah.
But I had my runner-up as Oklahoma State.
Okay.
Only because with the amount of movement going on in the Big 12 with the teams being added, I think we're going to see some drop-off by a couple teams. Like TCU, I think they're going to fall back to earth. Kansas State is a toss-up, but with them winning last year, I kind of have a feeling they're going to be kind of a little bit down, especially after that
spot.
Yeah, especially after that game against Alabama where they looked abysmal for most of it.
Yeah.
But so I had Texas winning, and my runner-up is Oklahoma State. But I won't lie to you, I sat there for a minute thinking about putting Cincinnati as my runner-up, just because I was like, they have a nice roster.
I was thinking about UCF, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah. No, I was thinking about it. I was like, you know what? First year in a conference, you always see that weird kind of situation where a team jumps up, and Missouri in their first year in the SEC won the East. Like, what?
Yeah. Just kind of it's like that surprise team.
Yeah.
It's almost like the NCAA tournament basketball when you always see those upsets because you just you haven't prepared for something like it.
About the team. Yeah.
So we'll move on now to our final pack or Power 5 conference, Pac-12.
Yep.
Where I think Washington wins it. I think Michael Penix and gang get it done this year, and I have the runner-up as the Oregon Ducks.
Interesting.
I think this is a great. I think that I don't even know their schedule is this year, but I like Washington. I'm going to look it up while you're looking this up.
So I'll tell you right now, my runner-up is also Washington, but my winner is or my runner-up is Oregon. Sorry.
Yeah.
My runner-up is also Oregon, but my winner is USC, just because I think they're going to be great again.
Yeah.
At least offensively. With the second year of, Riley being there and the system more or less being understood by everybody in the building there, it being, a culture being set, I do think, because they went to the Pac-12 championship last year. You know what I mean? His first year as a head coach, they went to the Pac-12 championship, which was
to be
more
fair,
than people expected.
They didn't have to, but they didn't have to play.
Mm-hmm.
They only had to play. Their biggest game was Utah, and they lost.
Yeah,
bought twice, and they. Other than that, they played UCLA, who they always play, and Oregon State was their. Wisconsin or Washington starts the year Tulsa, Boise State, Tulsa. They go to East Lansing though for Michigan State. They get Cal at home. They go to Arizona, which could be a sneaky game right there. Pac-12 after dark, you never know. They get Oregon at home though. They stay at home against Arizona State. Go to Stanford. They go to USC, but that's not really an intimidating atmosphere. They get Utah at home, though, which is a big-time thing, and they go to Oregon State and get Washington State at home. I don't know. I think I'm big on Washington again. Or this year, I think Michael Penix, who just had I don't even know how you would call it, just like revived his entire college career after transferred out of Indiana. Just came alive, and I don't know. Give me the Huskies. But as far as Oregon goes, I'm only putting it because I think Bo Nix played well down the stretch. They don't have to start the year against Georgia like they did last year.
Yeah.
I mean, other than that game, Bo Nix played really well last year, I think, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, he had a really good year.
They had the one slip up where they just against Washington, where they kind of screwed themselves over, and then the Oregon State game, which screwed them out of the Pac-12 title game. So they're right there last year. I think Dan Lanning has a great team this year, and I see them taking care of it.
I agree with you that they're going to go to the Pac-12 championship. I just think USC, because of how good their offense can be, I feel like they're going to end up blowing out a lot of teams this year, or at least putting up so many points the other team physically cannot come back.
Yeah, but the problem is their defense is so bad, and it probably will be again. That you never know.
Exactly.
You never know.
But I would roll the dice with USC personally.
Obviously, I mean they're probably just because you got Williams and you got all the other weapons. I mean, why not?
Yeah.
But
But
Pac-12, great conference this year. I think.
No, I think so too.
What it seems on paper right now. All right. We will move on to one last quick topic before 3 questions. Pretty much to talk about quick thoughts on another delay in the ESPN or EA college NCAA 24 football game. This time we got players. We got some people thinking that apparently some people believe that the football players should be getting in the game should be getting paid more than the $500. So what it is so I forget the exact number, but about $5 million generated for all the players. Split it out evenly. Each player is going to get about $500. But there's some people that think that bigger name players should be getting paid more, and I just think that's so dumb. And I saw something.
I absolutely agree with you on that.
It's like, take the money and shut up, please. You're getting more in other NIL deals than you are in this. I mean, and I saw something. I don't know if it's 100% true or not. Where EA just said that like if they're gonna boycott and they don't want to be in the game, we'll just slab a different person over like a default character.
QB4.
Yeah, we'll just exclude you from the game, something like that. Which I'm fine with. I don't care. I mean, half the time people will download the rosters anyway.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking, right? Like most of the time, the roster is going to be downloaded, and I think the majority of people are probably going to be playing so they can play connected franchise with people. Right?
Dynasty mode, yeah.
Dynasty mode. I know, like, probably the cards will probably be popular again, which, if anything, if I'm a player, I go, hey, if I play really good this year, maybe because we could make NIL incentives, they'll sell cards of players, and you can earn money from that.
And these guys got to remember that they're not going to be in the game forever. I mean, you're in that game forever, but like 4 or 5 years from now, you're going to be in the NFL, or you'll be doing something else. Like you're not going to be in the game. You're not going to be in the game every single year. So like, take the money and shut up, please. Shut up, okay?
Yeah.
So it's just some of these bigger name people, like Caleb Williams, Drake May, some other big time quarterbacks. Like, we know that you should probably be getting paid more, but you're getting all this other crap from other NIL deals. Just let everyone else have some fun.
Yeah.
Because not everybody else is going to be getting as much money as you anyway. $500, take it and take it.
Just take the cover athlete role, Drake May. Just take that. You get paid extra for that anyways.
Yeah.
You don't need to be arguing about your $500.
Yeah, someone co-tweeted, said $500 is a lot considering that if I played in the Dynasty mode, they are no longer on the roster after 4 or 5 years.
Yeah. Exactly. But that's the thing. Exactly, right?
The person that's like headlining, like trying to boycott, said that they should not opt into it. It's just ridiculously low in the amount of money. Just.
It's like how many kids are going to have to get money? Like almost 20,000, right?
Something like that.
It's like 19,000 people because it's 100 and something teams, and each team has however many players, and every single person on those teams has to get paid. And I'm guessing they probably have to reach a deal with like the coaches association too, and just a nightmare, right? So,
but enough of that. Just give me the game.
Yeah.
All right.
Me too, right? I just need this game.
Just give me the game. We're going to move on to our final segment. As always, we like to finish up with 3 questions. You know the rules. Write down our 3 questions. Each of us asked. We don't know. And if we feel like we want to answer it too, we'll answer it.
Yeah.
But, before we do, let's make sure that everyone knows that we are on Spotify, Amazon Music. We're on YouTube. Subscribe, watch, listen, tell your friends, spread the word. We are on the road to 50 subscribers. We need 50 subs. We are 3 away, guys.
We are 3 away.
Let's get 3
moment.
subs. Come on, guys. Drink of water before. All right.
Yep.
Dylan. Actually, I always start. Why don't you start? You start.
Yeah, I'll start. All right. I will start my first question. With the news of Lionel Messi coming to the United States to play for Miami in the MLS, how big of a deal is that to American sports that the biggest soccer player in the world would choose the USA over Europe?
It's big time. I saw something that said it was Inter Miami suspended or stopped the sale of their tickets because obviously they want to drive them up, because I saw you were getting tickets as low as $30 to $45, but now they're $300, $200, $300, $350. It's amazing what one guy can do, but he's just so talented, and he's the best soccer player, one of the best of all time. He finally got his World Cup victory. I mean, you have an argument that he could be the greatest soccer player of all time.
The greatest of all time.
And he's probably not going to play for much longer, but it's really cool, I guess, to see that he's in Miami.
They were saying his contract, it's 2 years and then an option.
Yeah. But that's cool to see. And I won't ever be watching because I don't really watch soccer, but
I doubt I'll watch either. But I mean, it's just a cool thing, right?
It's a cool thing.
Probably the most famous athlete in the world would choose to play in the United States over returning back to Europe, or he was offered $1 billion by Saudi Arabia to play, and he said no.
Yeah.
So, just saying, man.
Thoughts on the Stanley Cup final to this point, Dylan, with Game 3 tonight, Knights lead 2-0. What are your thoughts?
The Golden Knights are a better team than the Florida Panthers. I think that's the biggest thing to know from the game. I know you're going to do your little victory trot right now.
No victory yet. No victory yet.
It is hockey, so it's definitely not over yet, because if any sport has its complete turnarounds, it's hockey. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I want to see tonight before I make a final judgment, but if I was to say right now, it just feels like the Golden Knights are just so much better than the Panthers.
So here's my thoughts, and this is just aside from the plus 1,200 awesome bet that my futures bet that is looking great right now.
Yeah.
Getting serious though, the Panthers, who just played this bullying tactic strategy.
Yeah.
To get through the Eastern Conference, was working like a charm. They're now going up against a team that is equally as big, if not bigger in size.
Yeah.
Plays pretty much a similar game and doesn't care that you're doing that, and doesn't retaliate, doesn't start.
Yeah.
And they Florida's trying all they can to just stir up crap. And that's why I think you're seeing more of these 10-minute minors. If you've been watching, especially late in the game after their blowouts, Game 2, they were just tossing Panther players left and right, because all they're trying to do is just stir up stuff, and the refs know that, and they're not having it. And people are complaining that the refs are on the Knights. The Panthers are 0 for 7 on the power play through 2 games. I don't want to hear it. Bobrovsky has not played well at all the last 2 games. We'll see how he does tonight at home. But if you're the Knights, you got to feel good going into Game 3, which really they've been a better road team. And And if you think about who they've beaten, they took out Connor Hellebuck, who was a Vezina Trophy finalist. If you don't know hockey, that is one of the goaltender of the year finalists. Took him out, took out Jake Ottinger in the conference finals. Stuart Skinner in the second round, Edmonton. He was a rookie, but a solid goalie.
Yeah.
They just don't care, and there's really no weakness on this team. And Aiden Hill's playing out of his mind. It's a good if you're a Knights fan, like a legit Knights fan. I mean, you got to be happy and feeling good going into Game 3.
Yeah.
I just think that the series doesn't go past 5 games.
That's fair.
I
think it might get to 6. I think it depends on tonight more than anything tonight.
Even if Florida loses or wins tonight, you still. I mean, I don't think they'll take both games.
Yeah.
I think the Knights win at least one of the 2, which means they get to go back home, try to finish it off. That's all I think the Knights have this series locked down right now.
Okay.
So, what is your second question?
You know the classic "This is SportsCenter" ads where it would feature famous athletes in the ESPN office.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say was your favorite?
Well, I don't know. There's a bunch of them. They're
yeah.
I like the one where it was like the Kobe, like they were asking like Kobe Bryant or whatever to like how to deal with like the media.
Oh, yeah.
Him and Keyshawn Johnson.
Yep.
And he was like, "What do you say when it was like a back call?" He was like, "No, it's a BS call. It's a beep, beep, beep," and they just start like just giving it to them, and they're like, "What?" Or the basketball one where like they bring like it's like a daycare or like a daycare almost thing where they're playing against the kids.
Yeah.
And that was funny too. But there's a bunch of them.
I would say my favorite. It's stupid, but it's a mix between either the Manny Ramirez one where he's just sitting there eating food and they're like, "Look at him, it's just Manny being Manny." And
he starts laughing.
Or the one where I think it's Juan Pierre is showing off his bat and the Stanford tree is walking.
No, it was Jason Hayward.
Jason Hayward, yep. And they're like, he's like, yeah, you know, it's cut down to the very finest, and the Stanford tree's just walking in and staring at it. He just drops his food and walks away.
Trying to think, the Stephen Curry one where he's like, drop 45, Curry the next day, another 41, Curry the next day. He's like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
And then they like leave, and the chefs are like, "Who is that guy?" That was pretty funny.
Jimmy Johnson tearing
Jimmy
down
Johnson on the speed bump. Yeah. He has a speed bump, the pickaxe. That one's pretty good. They're all good.
They're all great.
Dylan, what are your thoughts on Josh Allen being named the next cover of Madden 24?
You know, I've seen a lot of criticism of it. I've seen a lot of hate of it.
Some of the memes are great.
Yeah, some of the memes are great, but my honest opinion is I think it's good for football. I think it's really good for football because just getting more names out there so people can see the faces. Because I think the biggest problem with the NFL is a problem of now that Brady's retired.
Yeah.
You probably lost the biggest face of the sport.
But now, I mean, Mahomes has been there.
Exactly, but I think they've relied too much on Mahomes.
He's already been on the cover twice.
He's been on the cover twice already, bro.
Yeah.
I think Josh Allen is super marketable, so I think it's good for the sport. I think it's kind of funny that he got chosen, especially with all the stuff just going on around him, you know, like the Haley Steinfeld.
Yeah.
You know, it's like right after that, it's like, man, this guy is getting.
Let's hope the Madden curse doesn't take him out, though.
That's what I'm hoping none of that happens, but to be fair, it didn't really, I don't feel like it hit
It
Mahomes
didn't do anything to Mahomes, no.
Brady and Mahomes, I feel like they both had good years.
Yeah, I don't think it'll do anything, but you never know.
Maybe he'll have one more turnover.
Nice. All right. What's your third question?
My final question for you. What's your favorite podcast?
What's my favorite podcast to watch or listen? I like watching there's a bunch. I mean, the pod, the Pat McAfee, the pod with the boys is good. I like watching that on YouTube. Spittin' Chicklets is a good one. Late Kick with Josh Pate's a good one.
Oh yeah, that's a fantastic one.
I like watching our Unnecessary Roughness. That one's not bad.
Mm-hmm.
There's a bunch. Pardon the Interruption's funny.
Yep.
There's too many to count, really. I like watching a lot of just like mini clips too.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are the ones I will like. Actually, I like to listen to.
So
yeah.
I listen to a lot of those same podcasts. The only ones I listen to that you didn't name would be I listen to Talking Baseball with John Boy.
I see them on Twitter, so
yeah, I listen to that quite a bit, and they're always funny. Trevor Plouffe on there too.
Mm-hmm.
But and then the only other one was I listen to sometimes Theo Vaughn's podcast.
Yeah, I just see clips of that.
So
So
funny. That guy is so funny. I was listening to his like podcast with Nikki Glazer, and he's saying the most. I can't even say these he's talking about, and I was like, man, where does he think of this stuff?
I see clips on YouTube or TikTok,
Oh, yeah.
like the Two Bears, One Cave.
Yep.
With Bert Kershire and Tom Segura. That ones are funny.
Mm-hmm.
There's a bunch of them, but yeah. All right, Dylan, final question for you, and I got some stats here.
Okay.
That I'll go through. Dylan, so this Golden Spikes Award being announced, finalists, Paul Skeens, who had 11-2. Paul Skeens, Dylan Cruz, Jack Caglione were your finalists. JJ Weatherholt, by the way, robbed of the finalist spot. Anyway, out of those three, who do you like to win it? If you want, I can go through the stats. Paul Skeens, 11-2 record, 1.90 ERA. He started 16 games, 2 complete games, 99 in the third innings pitched. He only gave up 61 hits, only allowed 26 runs, 21 earned, only gave up 7 homers. He had 179 strikeouts and counting, 17 walks up to this point, and 13 games this year with at least 10 Ks.
How many innings did he pitch?
99 in the third.
Okay. Wow. That's a lot of strikeouts for that many innings.
Dylan Cruz, 95 hits, 14 doubles, 17 homers, 63 RBIs, 432 average, 736 slugging percentage, 573 on base percentage. He only struck out, he's 40 strikeouts to 61 walks, and I wrote down something else, but I don't know what that 13B would be. I don't know. But he's the lead favorite to be obviously the first overall pick in the draft. And then Jack Caglione, Florida sophomore out of Florida. His hitting stats, he's batting .337. He only hit under 200 in the regional, but he did have 3 homers. But .337 average, 84 hits, 31 homers, which leads college baseball, 779 slugging, only 48 strikeouts in 248 at bats. Pitching, he had a 3.78 ERA, 7-3 this year with a 16 games started and 69 innings pitched. So, Dylan, who do you like to win the Golden Spikes?
What position did Caglione play in the field?
First base, I believe more.
Okay. If I'm going to make a decision right now, I would probably go with Dylan Cruz for a couple of reasons. Biggest thing would be his on-base percentage. That was wild. 500. But that's good.
573, yeah.
That's really good. And then the fact that he's putting up those numbers while also playing center field, which is the most demanding outfield position and probably the second most demanding position after shortstop, not counting catcher or pitcher.
Mm-hmm.
Him being able to put up those offensive numbers while also being, as far as I was able to tell, a really good defender in center field would put him at my number 1. And then I would have Caglione at number 2.
Yeah, Dylan Cruz, I mean, he's getting 432 average right there. Says a lot.
Yeah.
He's getting on 4 out of 10 times.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy stuff. I mean, 17 homers. He had a couple in the regional.
Yeah.
I think Paul Skeen's only playing a pitcher.
I think that hurts him.
I think that hurts him a little bit.
I think it hurts his draft stock. I think he's going to do fine in the draft. But
I think these guys, I don't know how much these awards really mean to these guys, but 1.9 ERA is no joke. 99 in the third innings pitch. He's only going to have, he's going to pitch again this weekend. He's probably going to dominate. Caglione, I would lean Caglione.
Okay.
Sub 4 ERA, led a 337 average, led college baseball with 31 bombs, 779 slugging. I had I screenshotted So he had 46 hits.
Mm-hmm.
Or was this? Oh, no, this is his pitching stats, or the other pitching stats. They ran out of room. So
Okay.
aside from this, so he had the 3.78 ERA, 7-3 was his record. 16 games started, 69 innings pitched. Like I said, he only gave up 46 hits. He gave up 33 runs. 29 were earned. Struck out 81, 49 walks. So a little high there, but only gave up 9 doubles, only 1 triple, and 6 homers.
Yeah.
But opponents were only hitting 184 against him.
It's pretty good.
So I would think I might lean it to Caglione, just because we're seeing like how much that people like that with like Ohtani.
Yeah,
Caglione's doing it. I think that's going to give him a nod, and then I think Cruz is second, Skeen's third.
Yeah, that's completely fair. That on base percentage is crazy. Like that's what people think Juan Soto does. You know what I mean? Like being able to hit 400 while also getting on base. That's
crazy.
Yeah, no, that's really good. Really, really, really good. That guy, whew, get ready for when he dominates the league. As an Athletic, let's go.
As a Pittsburgh Pirate. That's right.
Skeens.
All right, so that is all we have for you guys today.
Yep.
Went a little longer than we thought, but we
get
like
as much content as we can get to you guys.
Exactly, because we know how much you guys like that. And hopefully we have a good Super Regionals, as good as we had Regionals. Watching the Stanley Cup playoff finals tonight, Game 3. This episode's going to drop tomorrow, Friday, June 9th.
It should drop before the games start, but...
Oh, yeah. I'll have it dropped.
Yeah, it should be up and ready before the games start. So
for sure.
We want to hear you guys' opinions on our opinions.
It'll be out midnight, probably about early in the morning, so we'll be good to rolling. Make sure you guys, like we said, are subscribing. We get 3 away, guys. 3 away. But keep watching us, viewing, liking the comments, or commenting, whatever you guys want to do. We love that stuff, and let's keep building, turning and chugging.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, we'll be back next week. Until then, Knowles and Dogs podcast, guys, signing off. Peace out.
We'll see you guys.